Welcome back, all you Fabricants and Fleshbags, to the super, not funny show reviews. And today, I'll be reviewing episodes 9 and 10 of Batman Unburied, the podcast audio drama coming to you from Spotify and Warner Brothers in DC. So, was it good? Was it bad? And should you be watching? Well, as predicted, we get the final two episodes. I'm presuming the final two episodes of Batman Unburied, bringing this, I suppose it would be in comic terms, this 5-issue run to a close, with the episodes Box in the Ground, number 9, and In the Soil, number 10, in which we're seeing the end game, I suppose you'd say, in which Poison Ivy's master plan, in conjunction with the Harvester, Cornelius Stirk, comes to fruition. She tries to get this super special tree or something like that. I mean, I'm sure it makes all sorts of sense. It's semi-mystically, at least in her eyes, connected to her as a plant-based villain. And Cornelius Stirk, he's just a means to an end. So that means they got to crash Wayne Tower and try to steal this plant back, or this tree back. And, of course, Barbara Gordon and Batman are there to stop it all. And as far as the plan is concerned, you know what? Pretty much run-of-the-mill plan. Break in, use her toxins to sort of mind control people and then just make things happen. And, of course, Batman's got to get in the way of everything. And Vicki Vale gets, used as a pawn, and her safety is used to sort of ward off Batman. The overall, I really actually enjoyed at least episode 9 in terms of how it showed Poison Ivy's her chemical control, and how Batman has to sometimes he realizes he's got to not beat the hell out of people, so he more or less does that. I really actually like the way they pointed out that Bruce Wayne apparently is actually a pretty good person. I guess you could say he's one of the good ones, despite being a billionaire. That was really cool. But then the whole bit where there's a lot of stuff that happened there. You're like, okay, of course it's going to happen. Of course, Poison Ivy's going to talk a little bit, and she's going to use Vicki as kind of a way to get Batman out of the way. Yeah, but overall, just a pretty cool little, I don't want to say adventure, but a cool little set piece within Wayne Tower. And of course, Batman gets to save the day, but not before Poison Ivy's thoughtful plan to use Vicki to poison him comes into play, which I thought was it's a little cliched, but actually executed pretty well in order to, move the plot forward. Led us to episode 10, In the Soil, which I think is the stronger, as the final episode it ought to be, but it's a stronger episode out of the two. And this is where, Batman spends time in his little mindscape, and we realize that, he could control where the mindscape was, not Poison Ivy, not Hugo Strange, and that he had sort of created this little fantasy world for himself. And it's kind of interesting that he chooses a fantasy world that isn't a utopia. As Poison Ivy points out, you could have had anything, and you chose this. It's where he has parents that are sort of disappointed in him and what he decides to do with his life. And seeing him sort of talk to his parents / his inner self was interesting. I think it was an interesting way to examine his character a little closer. And I thought it sort of presented that, his inner, I don't want to say turmoil, but his inner struggle with his own, I would say his own mental health situation was pretty interesting. Being sort of ashamed of himself for not carrying that torch for his parents' deaths like he did when he began forging himself into Batman, and then uh, you know growing to be attached to being Batman for another reason, to make Gotham better. That grows to love the work, and feeling bad about it, that it means that he's sort of, I guess, pushing his parents' death to the side. And I did like specifically that the resolution there was that it's okay to love, or want to continue to do the work to to make a difference as Batman, as long as he also makes sure to spend time being Bruce Wayne. And I think that's a good look at it, because he is Batman, and Bruce Wayne has got to also be part of him, in his semi-fractured psyche. I was kind of coming to, I guess, to peace with that whole situation. It's very nice touch. But from there, we see essentially the end game wherein Poison Ivy goes to, Wayne Manor, and goes out to find the tree, and locates the tree. And there's a battle and everything. Cornelius Stark, he's a true believer and a weirdo, but he's just a guy. So of course Batman will get to drop on him. And Batman, he just really shows that why he's Batman, why he's the man, that he can be poisoned and tired and hurt and all that stuff, and still close the deal. But in this case, not trying to beat Poison Ivy to death or anything like that, but trying to convince her to, you know, to stop her crazy plan, was essentially to send spores out and to control everyone, and at least only a third of the people would survive. It was, some big, stupid plan, basically, a superhero villain plan. But he manages, to thwart with the help of Barbara Gordon. There was also interesting stuff like Barbara Gordon actually getting out there and trying to do a police thing, but then Alfred being, mind controlled. I found that all very interesting, because Alfred is in fact a badass. That's a very cool bit. But when Poison Ivy seems to waver, Cornelius Stark takes it on himself to sort of try to make things happen, and he ends up injuring Poison Ivy, but getting ultimately killed by Barbara Gordon. This all ended in a very, let's just say, unspectacular fashion. Even the part where she gets swallowed up by the tree and everything like that. I guess getting her dying wish and having essentially a fake death. That's all pretty conventional. But I do like the way it all ended. The resolution here wasn't so much in the punching and the kicking and batarangs, but in the way that the character relationships are sort of fleshed out here. That Barbara, she's no longer going to be a police officer. So what's her next step going to be? And how's Bruce going to be able to support her there? And I really love this. This like probably the best part of the episode. Part that actually made me choke up a bit was between Alfred and Bruce. Bruce, saying, "Hey, I love you. You're my dad." Earlier they had a contentious moment where he said, "You're not my dad," but in this one, basically saying, "I love you, Alfred." And he says it back. It's a father-son situation that is semi-acknowledged. Really, really like that. And then there's the last bit with the Riddler escaping, but Batman finding him. Because of the Riddler. He sort of shows, hey, I am a good detective. I do pay attention. I knew your clues you were dropping this whole time. So he catches him. But to let us know that, hey, there's going to continue to be a back and forth between these two, because it's how Riddler stops being bored, and Batman is just, he's an adversary that actually has the ability to keep up with him. So that was all very interesting. Overall, I really like this series. It's 10 episodes. It over the course of 5 weeks, got to hear a new Batman story that I could easily have seen being animated or on a comic book page, and it would have been a worthy addition to the canon. So overall, I hope they do more of this. These are good things. It's well acted, well produced, and well written, and we could stand to have some more of these types of content if you are into superheroes or anything like that. So I really enjoyed it. But what did you guys think about these last 2 episodes. What do you think about what I had to say? Get down to the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking. Of course, you can always hit me up. SuperNotFunnyShow@gmail.com or at SuperNotFunnyS1 on Twitter. And we'll chop it up. So thanks all you people who have tuned in to these reviews. I really appreciate it. We got the first review up over 900 views. That's awesome. So keep on checking these things out, hitting that like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Really appreciate it. All right, all you Fabricants and Fleshbags, thanks for joining me, and come back for more reviews in the future. Until then, I have been Mo de Poupée, your resident fabricant and comic extraordinaire on all things pop culture. And I'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.